Welcome to The Culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, music, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. It's a lifestyle. We are The Culture. Welcome to The Culture. Thank you so much for joining us. With us today is the Assistant Regional Census Manager, Marilyn Stevens. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
It is an honor to be able to speak with you. We have the census already going on. Our census day was April the 1st, and I understand that you all have extended the deadline for the census. But before we get into that, I would love for you to be able to explain to our viewers exactly what the United States Census is.
Absolutely. Most people know the Census Bureau as that agency that they see once every 10 years. Many of them actually think that the other 9 years that we don't work and we really get paid. That works for me, but I haven't been able to sell that to anyone else. We take about 200 surveys a year. So every statistic you hear on TV, whether it's unemployment statistics that come out the first Friday of every month, we take that data for the Department of Labor, or health statistics that you're hearing so much about now. We take those statistics for the Centers for Disease Control and the National Institutes of Health. Crime statistics, we do those for the Department of Justice. So we're always working. Consumer confidence. But what we're really known as, what's our big brand, is that once every 10 years, decennial census, where we are constitutionally mandated to count all persons living on U.S. soil. And the reference day that you referred to is April 1st. And it's not like tax day, because everybody's like, oh my God, April 1st is coming, God, I missed it, I haven't been counted. No, April 1st is just a reference date where we ask the question, who was living in this household on April the 1st? So if you completed your census on March 12th, the way I did, this question is still the same. Who will be living in this household on April 1st? If you're going to do it today, after hearing from you, then the question is still, who was living in the household on April 1st? So babies born after April 1st are not included in this census. They have to wait 10 more years.
And why is it so important to be counted?
Yes, most people don't realize that the primary reason for conducting the census is for apportionment, to determine how many congressional seats each state gets. And that really is each state's voice. How big is their voice? And then from that, the federal government allocates about $675 billion with a B dollars in resources each year, $7 trillion over the decade, for such things as emergency management, Medicaid and Medicare, community health clinics that you're going to hear a lot about, rural hospitals, Head Start and Early Head Start, SNAP, WIC, energy assistance, Section 8 vouchers, veteran services, senior services, highway planning and construction, Pell grants, foster care, and things for foster children. There are just about 340 federal programs that depend on these population numbers. And for minority populations, this is a great statistic. When Dr. Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech in 1963, there were about 5 or 6 Black congressional representatives and 1 Hispanic out of the 435. Unbelievable. Today, there are about 46 Hispanic congresspeople, about 56 African American congresspeople, about 17 Asians, I think about 4 or 5 American Indians. All of that was brought about because of the census.
Wow. That is amazing. That's amazing. So they take the number of the population and they use that number to determine, I guess, statistically how much funding will be needed for Head Start or WIC, Section 8 or SNAP.
Yes, sometimes people tell me, they said, well, there's a long waiting list for Section 8 housing. And the waiting list is there because the numbers don't support the need. Or I was talking with someone in Georgia yesterday who is a broadcaster like you. And when I brought up in a lot of minority communities, they really are complaining about not enough slots for Head Start. The children are there, but they can't get into the program because the numbers don't support the need. And the broadcaster said to me, she said, "That's my story." And then she talked about how she had to wait a year and stay with her grandmother while her friends in her age cohort went to Head Start every day for 1 year because there were no more slots. And I talked about how oftentimes parents, even if they complete the questionnaire, they leave the children off so that the education programs lose funding or don't have funding for essential programs and to cover the needs of the communities they serve.
What do we say to those people who are maybe conspiracy theorists or just think that you're collecting that data for something other than what you're saying it is for? What can we urge them to be their call of action to actually?
Absolutely. Yeah. Many people say, I have a mistrust of government. And I'm afraid if I give you my information, that it's going to be used for ill purposes and it's going to adversely affect my life and the life of my family. So forget it. I'm not going to give it to you. But most don't know this. Census data is protected by 2 laws. I mean, there's no other data that's protected by law. We're like on this island. Under Title 13 of the United States Code, we can only publish information in a statistical form, in tabulation form. I mean, how many people live in the United States? How many live in Florida? What is the age breakdown, the racial breakdown, the cultural breakdown? What are the household relationships? Nothing to say, this is Marilyn Stevens, and she lives in this particular city at this particular address on this street. She has this number of people in her household, and here they are, here are their birthdays. Nothing. Title 13 covers that data. And then it goes a step further. No agency can get census data. No agency, including law enforcement. No CIA, no FBI, no police, no ICE, no immigration, no IRS, cannot be subpoenaed by the courts, cannot be gotten by the president, cannot be gotten by me. And under Title 13, all census employees have lifetime sworn status. And what that means to me is, as I said, it's almost like my grandmother, my great-grandmother helped them write the law. And they would tell you there are certain things you take to your grave. And that's what Title 13 says, lifetime sworn status. You breach that law, there's a 5-year prison term and a $250,000 fine. So it's really serious. Then the second law is Title 44. And under Title 44, census records are sealed for 72 years. So you hear a lot on TV about genealogy researches and you can go and get all these census records. The last census we released was 1940. We released that in 2012 because the 72-year threshold had been met. The next census to be released will be the 1950 census because the 72-year threshold would have been met. Now, suppose I was in like the Katrina Rita situation where people had to just flee. They didn't have time to go in the closet, get the case out with all everybody's documents in it. They had to flee, go to other states, try to put their lives back together. They had no identification and all their support systems were underwater as well. But the Census Bureau has an age search program. And there's a form called the BC 600. It's about 2 pages. And it's real short. You fill it out. I can't get your information, but you can get your information. And you can send it into us. We will send you back a document that says that you are Marilyn Stevens. This was your age during a census. You can use that to get a passport. You can get entitlements. You can literally put your life back together.
Wow, that's great. I'd never known that.
Yes.
Never heard of that. So, deadline. We've pushed the deadline out a few months. Is it October the 31st? Is that what our goal is, to try to make sure that we know that the time is now to do this. Not waiting. The time is now. The time is now. but I did want the viewers to know what was the cutoff date.
Right. Originally, the self-response period was March 12th through July 31st. So even though we had planned to be in the field about the end of May to knock on the doors of the households that had yet to respond, we were going to follow up with them. You still had the opportunity to go online or call a toll-free number or mail back a paper questionnaire. Now the deadline has been pushed back to October. But just think about it. 51% of the nation has already completed theirs. And the question to you is, are you in that number?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you want to be. You don't want to wait for October. Why? We have multiple priorities. Something right now, all of us are dealing with the pandemic. We've got to adapt. Parents got to adapt to being going back to being their children's first teachers. Then they've got to, at the same time, work from home. Then they've got to figure out how I'm going to get provisions without going out into the public too much. So people have a lot of things that are going on right now. They're going to secure food. They're trying to get benefits, to bring more revenue into the home. So there's always going to be something that's going to be top of mind. And that's what we want people to just stop, take a deep breath, go online, make it a family project. Don't wait. Don't worry about October. That's a long way off. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? Most of us don't know what's going to happen between now and Saturday. That's where I am. I'm like on a 2-day trek. So we want people to complete it now. I had my godkids to take the lead in their household because one's a teenager. I said, because think about it. You were only, 8 years old, 10 years ago. Now you're 18. You're going to be 28 in 10 more years. So you take the lead and go online, complete the questionnaire, and then you answer the questions, how's everybody related to you instead of how you related to your parents. They love that, And he said, it was so fast. Can I do it again? No, you can't do it again because it only took about 10 minutes. So going online, or we have seniors that said, I would rather talk with someone. I want to talk with a human. So they can call our toll-free number at 1-844-330-2020. And for the first time in history, we're actually supporting 11 non-English languages, including Haitian Creole.
Wonderful.
And that's, yes.
Wonderful. Speaking of Haitian Creole, we have the city of North Miami with 45.3% response rate. We have Miami Gardens with 52.1%, Opalaka with 45.1%, and we have Miramar with 55.9%, which I believe may be above the national average.
Yes, the national average is about 51%. And because I'm a resident of Miramar, Miramar has to achieve a high response rate because they will hear from me daily.
That's great. Okay, so they didn't receive a letter, or they may have accidentally tossed that letter out, which had that code. They can call. What's the number that they can call?
1-844-330-2020. Now, when you talked about that letter, we sent a letter right on March 12th. Then 3 days later, we sent a reminder letter. And then, of course, the dog and the kids conspired to put those in the recycle bin. So we were smart enough. So this time we sent a blue postcard to fool them. So you got a blue postcard. Now, if that's 3 communications, last week, if you had not responded at all to those 3 communications, we started mailing out paper questionnaires. So from last week through the end of the month, we're going to continue to mail paper questionnaires. So then you'll have all 3 options in your hand. Should I go online to my2020census.gov? Should I call the toll-free number at 1-844-330-2020? And there's a different number for the different languages. Or should I fill out the paper questionnaire and give it back to my mail carrier? So you have all 3 options in your hand. And we're not finished. If you still don't respond, the beginning of May, we're going to send you another reminder. But we know that once your audience hears this program, they're going to go and respond immediately.
Mm-hmm. They will. And I wanted to ask you, the paper with the code on it was going to only expedite you filling out the form online because it will automatically populate the address. But
Right,
just because you don't have that, you still can go on to your website and just type in your address. I
right,
did, and it only took me maybe 7 minutes to
right.
finish it. My whole household. I brought in my 8-year-old daughter, and she helped me
Yeah,
to talk about daddy and daddy's birthday and her brother, and she really enjoyed it. Now I don't know if she's gonna remember that when she's 18, and it's her opportunity to do it again. But I still thought that it was a nice civic lesson that we were able to do here in the home and add towards her learning. She enjoyed it.
absolutely. And then too, some people printed theirs out, took a selfie with the whole family, attached the picture to their confirmation, and put it in a frame as a historical family document.
Oh, that's nice. Because this is the first year that we've been able to actually go online and do this, correct?
The second time, most people don't remember the first time. In 2000, there was an option. We did not advertise it. We
Oh,
did not discuss it with people. Like if you were in a crowd, if we were in a closed room, we talked about it, but we did not emphasize it. The internet was pretty new then. You had to have that 30-digit code on your questionnaire to do it online. But we did. This is not the first time, but this is the first time we've had options. We've
mhm.
never had this many options to complete a census. And it's the first time in history that you could actually put country of origin under race. So when you want to talk about the Black diaspora for the first time, under Black, you can put, I put African American for mine. You could also put Jamaican, Nigerian, Haitian, Honduran, Brazilian, Somali, Sudanese, whatever, Ghanaian, however you see yourself.
That is great. That's great. Give us some closing thoughts. I don't want to leave without, at a minimum, allowing you to tell us something that we didn't already ask, and possibly giving some words of encouragement to many of our African American viewers on again why it is so important for them to be counted.
It's really important because when we talk about a redistricting and people know that we're going to redistrict the congressional districts, they don't know that a part of that will be your state senate districts, your state house districts, all the way down to your voting districts. So you could gain or lose voting district within your community after a census. And you can only do that once every 10 years. And just think about the $675 billion in essential resources that we need in our community every hour of every day. We don't want to leave any money on the table. So we really want everyone to participate. And then we want you to encourage 10 of your friends and associates to participate and ask them to encourage 10. Um, we're going to give you some information later on. There's a contest going over the Census Bureau, and that's a $30,000 prize. You can make a video about the importance of the census or how your family completed the census or any census message. And we're going to look at those videos. And the first prize was the grand prize of $30,000, a runner-up prize of $10,000. And then there's a prize for students. So they can enter separately between the ages of 13 and 18 with parental approval. And that's a separate $10,000 prize. So it really does pay to participate in the census.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Marilyn Stevens. She is the Assistant Regional Census Manager for our United States Census. Thank you so much for joining us, and we know that we will be counted. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The Culture is produced and owned by Hip Rock Star Media and cannot be reproduced or broadcast without written consent by Jessica Garrett Motkins. All rights reserved 2020.